and plumbing and roads and all things that would be done one way or the other. And so if you could restrict it to that, that's another good step as we continue to try to bring the number of that down. Yes, ma'am. And if you could go over that, would be great.
I have a lot of words. Sort of on both sides, and I want to go back to your Afghanistan thing, and touch on the health care.
Yeah, and again, this is a Congress on your corner. This is not just health care. So we do Medicare, you know, the whole spectrum.
Well, I'm sort of always feel like I have the devil and angel on both sides anytime I talk about an issue.
Well, you know what? We're here because folks want to listen to you, and I want to listen to you, and there's no right or wrong. Everybody has their own opinion. That's what makes this country great.
We talked about personal responsibility, and we spent 7 years in 2 wars and did not raise taxes. We all stuck yellow ribbons on our cars and said support our troops, and did nothing to sacrifice personally for them. Kind of too late to go back to that. We're not going to raise taxes for the past 7 years. But maybe we could start sort of a war bond fund like they did in World War II. I don't understand how it works, but maybe we as citizens could put our money where our mouth is, so to speak. And sort of in the same thing on health care, I too support the Obama plan, or at least strong health reform. And I'll put a tidbit in as strong banking reform. But I also, my husband and I transferred from corporate health insurance to being out of a job and having FICOVA plan to starting a small business. And first it was just us on a Social Security, so it was still income that was buying outright insurance. Eventually have 5 employees that are on health insurance. We're on a very small group plan that's very tenuous because if we lose employees, we're too small to have the group plan. So we experienced our private health insurance being paid out of our income, and we were taxed on that money. I think that employee benefit plans should be taxed. It is part of your income.
Thank you. And in response, a war bond plan would make enormous sense, because this has been the first time, and I'm not the world's greatest historian, but this has been about the first time where, when military action, when we went to war, we didn't figure out a way to pay for it at the time. And so war bonds, where in World War II you saw all our movie stars, everybody, going around the country saying, let's all chip in. If we're going to do this, our men and women are over there sacrificing. I mean, I went over there to see them. We actually, this is a little side story on that, and then I'll try to remember your second point when I get older. The side story on this is, I had a meeting with the dad this week of one of the guys that I saw in Afghanistan. And his dad he runs a tool and die shop. And his mission was to create for our vehicles that are over there. Our men and women who are getting killed and wounded is primarily through IEDs, the improvised explosive device. And it has been a game of, for want of a better way to put it, a game of cat and mouse, where they set their devices on a timer to try to time it so that it goes off under the vehicle. And so we put an extender on the vehicle. They measured the extender through binoculars and telescopes, and then set the timer back a little bit more. And this man's son explained to his dad, here's what's going on. We're out 10 feet. And they figured out we're out 10 feet, and they've timed it accordingly. This dad, for the last 3 weeks, spends all his time in his tool and die shop, basically ran a second shift for himself, and devised a piece of equipment that telescopes in and telescopes out, and all of our great contractors in Washington haven't figured this out. But this guy was so determined, he said, this is my son and I want my son to come home. And he created this device. It goes in and out, It can go anywhere from 5 feet to 25 feet, and they change it up every day. He put 2 kits together on his own. They arrived in where our people are about 3 days ago, and so we all got the email pictures of the guys making some crude gestures as well. But you know, that guy said, I have an obligation to these men and women, and we all do. And so the war bond part makes sense. Additionally, you mentioned the banks, and I'll talk about that real quick because you know, and I talked at the beginning, so I'll add some time on. But in regards to the banks, I serve on the Financial Services Committee, and I want to let you know, first and foremost, those are loans. And those loans